anime cyberpunk style meets skirmish combat in Infinity. Experience 8 high-tech factions and fight to control the human sphere at the Infinity Hub on beastsofwar.com. Humanity has been driven from Earth, but now it's time to take it back. Join the Reconquest and fight the Scourge on the Drop Zone Commander Hub at beastsofwar.com.
Good morning and welcome to The Weekender. We have a jam-packed show. We're going to be announcing a load of prize winners for Team Yankee, for Foreground.
Yep.
And Eden as
that's
well.
The backstage
but that's backstage, that's tomorrow.
Justin,
remind me tomorrow morning to announce the winner of Eden.
Right, like I was meant to remind you the last time and I completely forgot.
His fault.
Yeah,
I get away scot-free.
Hands up, I goofed.
Right.
I also goofed.
I'm joined by Lloyd and Justin, by the way.
Morning,
You
guys.
may not recognise Justin because the magnificent beard that he had grown has gone once again.
Yes.
Is there a lady on the scene?
No.
Oh, okay,
He's
right.
just
sure.
No, last night I went to Turf to get dinner. So, nice burger, sweet potato fries. Went to take a bite of my burger.
And the whole mouth went in with the burger. Is that it?
The whole beard just went into my mouth and it was just me going, come down to it right here. You know, it gets to a length and it gets annoying, but it will return eventually.
I've got to say, it does get to a length where it becomes interesting because it actually acts as some kind of a natural audio muffler.
Yeah.
And because he's talking to us, and to him it's clear in his head, but by the time it gets past the beard, it's.
I wonder if it has an effect the other way. The stuff we're saying isn't getting past the beard.
Maybe the beard is the great
So,
deflector.
how does the beard block my ears?
Well, you never know. You never know. But then the bit that we missed, and it was the bit that I was looking forward to over the course of this week, is there comes a point when it gets so long that Justin trims it. And he trims it so neat across the top left that he just looks like a little beaver. And he's just going, ah! And it's just so clean and trimmed. Look at it, it's the cutest
At least now you can see me smile.
Well, yeah, we can see you smile. And you look young.
It takes about 10 years off me, especially that big white streak down the right-hand side.
Right, let's kick off the show. First things first, Team Yankee last weekend.
Yeah.
What a massive, massive weekend. I have never seen the likes of it. Just some stats before we get into some content.
Yep.
Over 1,000 comments on
Each
each of the days.
Yep.
Nearly double the traffic and stuff of previous ones. The boot camp was just on fire. Mm-hmm. In terms of the people that came, we had people from America, we had them from mainland Europe, we had them from mainland UK, we had them from all over.
Germany, Switzerland, I believe as well.
It was incredible. What an awesome weekend. I just want to say a massive thank you to all of the guys and gals that turned up for the weekend. It was just amazing.
Well, obviously it was. Lourdeslavia wasn't going to put on a bad show.
No, Lourdeslavia did look great.
Yeah.
Have we got any pictures or whatever from the show?
We've got a few. One of the stars of the show had to be Anders.
Yes.
Who came across from Battlefront to teach everybody. And he was an absolute star about getting everybody up, running, and I think he actually did 3 demo tutorials that we got to film and put out on the site. So if you actually missed the live blog, you can go back and learn to play Team Yankee.
Yeah, go to the live blog, go to the Saturday, and on the Saturday we have 3 streaming tutorials as led by Anders on how to play.
Tanks, helicopters, and troops.
Yeah.
As you can see, everybody had a great time of it, and everybody just gathered around gaming tables to learn to play, which was brilliant. And then they actually just all broke apart and went off to their own tables and started, just getting into it.
Yeah.
And then the size of the armies that they got was ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Look how many T-72s they got.
Yeah, something like 10
T-72s.
Yeah, 6 Hinds.
And then the American force was just ginormous.
Yeah.
So you had your 4 Cobras, you had your 5 Abrams, and I think you had 3 M113 carriers, and then a massive infantry to go along with it.
Yeah.
So they were massive, massive forces that people walked away with.
That is cool, because I was there and I didn't realize they got quite so much stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it became apparent whenever nobody had really finished building by the Friday, and we had to spend the Saturday morning getting caught up.
Frantically building away.
So here's 2 of our boot campers.
Yeah,
here.
Alexander and Mike, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It was just mental.
Mick.
Oh, apologies, Mick.
Right. Some of the stuff that you may have missed from the weekend, and it is worth going back over and having a look. We did unboxings of the plastic kits.
Yep.
We did chats about the kits, about the actual kits, and we also did some chats about the kind of kit that the Soviets would have been wearing in that era. We did a tale of 4 gamers over the course of the weekend from their experience, their hopes going into the boot
Two
camp.
of which you can see here.
Yeah. And then we followed those 4 gamers as they went through the weekend to see how things had progressed for them. We filmed a build video for the Hind plastic kit.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in how it went, definitely go and check it out.
Yeah.
Here we have, look at the size of that template.
Yeah. We also have Orskani from the website, who again was an absolute star because he came across early to give us a bit of a hand.
Yep.
To actually get everything set up.
Risky, really enjoyed it. It was good to have him over with the whole history thing he'd done.
Yeah, and Lloyd, you actually got a bit of a surprise at the weekend from something John made.
Yes.
The Golden Hind.
Yes, the Golden Hind. It's hideous.
It's the Lloydislav dictator helicopter. I actually have the real thing here.
Yeah.
So here it is. The Golden Hind in all its glory.
Yep.
Ready to... It's like a Bond villain type thing, isn't it?
I don't know. I'm thinking the dictator.
It's just...
Yeah. And then Lloyd, of course, we had his flags and his banners up from Lloydislavia all through the place.
I think this is the best thing of the weekend. Yep,
Yeah.
My face plastered everywhere, obviously.
Yeah, a massive thank you to Panzer Kaput from the website. A great member of Beasts of War. And a fabulous, fabulous artist who did the actual banners. If you go back to the previous one there,
this one?
Just look at even the little details, like the aubergines are fully represented in there.
Yeah.
In among all the agricultural produce.
Yes, well, we have green, we have aubergines. I see some cabbage and some grapes.
it is brilliant. Anyway, we've had a fabulous weekend. The other thing that we did this weekend is we were periscoping live. So if you download the Periscope app to your Android or to your iPhone, and just go onto that app and do a search for Beasts of War, you will find us, because we're still doing it from time to time. We're periscoping. We're just doing little live streams behind the scenes of us gearing up to do something, gearing up to film something. Sometimes some of the planning sessions of what we're working on, they only stay online for about 24 hours. If you download that app and you subscribe to us, you get a little ping when we're going live, and it's ad hoc, interesting stuff behind the scenes. But we have other plans for Periscope of interesting things that we're planning to do with it.
Yeah.
A couple of updates is with the PDF with all the terrain. So if you bring up the terrain there,
yes, our Lloydislavian
the buildings.
You can see one of them here.
Yeah, the buildings and the grain silos we have put up for download for backstagers. We've updated that file now, because first time it went out it was missing the roofs, but the roofs are now in it. So if you want to download that and get stuck into building the architecture of Lloydislavia, you can do that.
Yeah, if you're wondering about the roofs, they're really easy to put on. What you do is just fold all the sides around your building first, fold the flaps underneath and things like that, but don't fold anything on the top.
Yeah.
Cut out your roof.
And you cut it very slightly smaller than the footprint.
You're aiming for it to sit inside the unfolded stuff loosely. Not too loose, but not so tight as when you fold it.
A little bit of space either side, yeah.
Yeah, not so tight as when you fold it over that it creases. And then what you do is, once you've glued that in place, if you're doing it on the wood frame like we've done, is you then just fold the flaps down and then make any little cuts with knives and things to facilitate folding that down. And if you're folding it down, what I find is Pritt stick was the way to go.
Right.
Now, you can use super glue for the rest of the building and glues it all pretty quickly, but when it comes to the top, use a bit of Pritt stick, because super glue can suddenly squeeze out when you go to do that, and if you get super glue on the texture, it takes the print off and stuff. So
also
Pritt stick.
Pritt stick for paper on paper work. It gives a flatter join, a flatter, more consistent join. Yeah. Because super glue can sometimes be a bit lumpy.
And it catches quicker.
Yeah.
And then just put something heavy on it.
Yeah.
What I did was I would turn the buildings upside down and put them on a very flat surface and then put some weight on them, just to make sure it was well.
Yeah, although I would say for anyone building it, I definitely would do the wooden frames because it makes it a really, really strong building. You know,
and it's not difficult to do.
Yeah.
For information on how they were built, come on over and check because there was a number of vlogs and things like that went out before the actual boot camp aired, where we went over a lot of that information. Last couple of downloads that's up there in that post is we also have the history of Lloydislavia. So if you do decide to do a bit of it, it's a really interesting thing. Should you never do Lloydislavia, it's interesting because you can add your own name to it. It's interesting to see how someone so clued in as a Riscany in history and in military history was able to go back and kind of tweak the historical aspects to make it all make sense for 1985. So it's well worth looking at. And then finally, we cannot move on without mentioning the helicopter deathmatch rules.
Yeah.
So we played out a helicopter deathmatch. If you check on the live blog for the Sunday, you can see the helicopter deathmatch, and it was put together by Anders and Gianna.
Two of them. There was two helicopter death matches played.
Yeah,
because everyone enjoyed it so much they went back for seconds.
Why was I not told? I wanted to play this.
It's well worth a look at the helicopter deathmatch rules. It is good fun. Right. One thing that we are moving into, and we'll be talking about it in tomorrow's backstage episode, is it's that time of the year for making plans and reassessing what we've done over the year. So we're going to be putting out a little bit of a survey to try and help us see where we're going to go direction-wise over 2016, see how we can improve things for you guys even further. So if you're interested, please consider coming on over to Backstage and watching that show tomorrow morning as we discuss some of the ideas and some of the questions that we're raising now for 2016, because we'd really appreciate as much input from Backstage members as possible on that before we start to take it on out to the further membership. So one of the big things that'll be on the agenda will be boot camps and events, and we're going to mix it up again next year. You know, boot camps have been a great model. We'll probably still do one or two next year, but we have some ideas for some other kinds of events that we want to talk about, and we're also looking some feedback on where we host events and where we maybe even simultaneously host events, possibly in the States or on the mainland UK. Right. Will we announce some winners?
Yeah, because we had 3 prizes to give away over the weekend, which was the Team Yankee 2-player bundle. So you were getting 2 rulebooks, a copy of Bannon's Boys, and a copy of Portochenkov's Bears.
Yes,
I believe we've got the pronunciation on that right.
So
that's a massive prize.
Yeah, well,
the best thing was that funky 80s screen we had promoting it.
Yeah, I remember Lloyd just going, has to be more 80s, man. Has to be more 80s.
We've got to get bad tracking on this. We've got to get a Kung Fury style grid.
Yeah.
That was the fun thing about that.
Okay, so
stuff.
Every day we were giving one away. Okay, so Friday's winner was Spaced 2020. Saturday's winner was Glitching Out, and Sunday's winner was Yoshi. Congratulations, you 3. Please get in touch via the Claim Your Prize button. And we will make sure and get those prizes out to you. Okay, in this episode, we're going to be talking kind of terrain. We're going to be talking some built terrain that you can buy that just looks absolutely fabulous after the break. But we're also going to be discussing what these things are. This is something new that arrived at Beasts of War Towers that we've been having a hell of a amount of fun with. So we'll be right back after we tell you about some hubs.
It's time for 28mm World War II action. Will you recreate history or reshape it your way? On the Bolt Action Hub at beastsofwar.com. Keep your blaster handy, the West is a dangerous place. Fight to survive as men turn to monsters and the dead rise. On the Wild West Exodus Hub at beastsofwar.com.
Hi guys and welcome back. Right, we got a bit of a surprise just the day before the Team Yankee Boot Camp launched. Our buddies over at Foreground sent us through a brand new release that they're bringing out, which is a 15mm kind of modern and sci-fi, future modern building range. And in among it was this incredible piece here. So I just want to show you. I'm going to show you the whole range. It's going to blow you away, but check this one out, right? So here we have the kind of the electric pylon.
So hang on, this is, what scale is this?
15 mil.
Really?
Yeah.
That's huge.
Well, we actually, as soon as it arrived...
But they are huge.
I get that they are huge, but I'd be quite happy to set that down for a 28 mil game.
Well, it would be small for a 28 mil game, but we got it, and we were in the process of finishing. We just finished basically dressing all the tables for the boot camp.
Yeah.
And it arrived in. I said to them, "Oh, please, 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 do you have more of these?" And they did. They sent us through some more of them, and we actually have some photographs of them actually on the table. So if you're going to be doing anything kind of at the 15 mil scale, and you want to take your normal kind of tabletops that you have and really bring them up to that kind of modern near future thing, check them out. You can just see them there. Here's the group photo, and you can see them all laid out. And it's amazing the difference, just that one piece of terrain made, sitting on the table, just
it
completely...
It breaks that height that you always see, because we built the Slavian buildings, and they were all nearly the same height.
Yeah.
So that just really broke it up.
But not only that, it was a case of, one of the things that we're quite fortunate about here in Europe anyway, in Europe and Eastern Europe, is we have that mix of the old and the new. So if you've done a gaming table that's suitable for World War II, the chances are a good chunk of that might still be around in the 1980s. And if you chuck in, depending on the size of the table you have, 1, 2, maybe 3 of these, it just totally updates it. And it's amazing how one piece was all it took to just totally transform them.
Like Justin says, it was cool because all our buildings were the one height, and then this jutted up above them and added another depth. It added another sense of depth to the table, especially when we had helicopters and stuff flying around. Yeah. Because you're thinking, well, the helicopters are going to need to fly around this and stuff. And the other thing is, if I go back to a big picture of the big group shot that we have, it tied all the tables together because it made it look like the power lines were running across all the tables, even if the roads and stuff didn't match up. That one thing running right across the room just sort of tied everything together, and it made it look like one big area. It was really cool.
Yeah. So it wasn't the only thing that came in the package, though. But so now I want to take a moment to show off some of the others. So these are basically called the Urbanzone Buildings. They're in 15 mil scale, and they're designed to give you kind of city blocks and things like that in your 15 mil kind of modern. I don't see why you couldn't use this for even 1940s New York.
Yeah.
It would work well. And then it also works fine for the futuristic stuff. So let's show them off. I want to start off with this one here. So
this one?
Let's get that on screen because I've got something very interesting to show you. So some of the details, it is just
it's a
amazing.
Huge piece.
Now I wonder, can you there? That's what I want to show you.
Oh, they've actually put a little bit.
There is
film.
Even glass, glass effect in the actual windows of the building
That's
itself.
Really nice.
Isn't that just so beautiful a touch? Look at it. You can, as you're moving around the gaming table, these are glittering and gleaming at you, and it's just such a nice touch that they could so easily have not bothered doing, but for me it just totally set them off.
Although I do like the fact that they've left these little archways at the bottom open now. So you've actually got line of sight running through those.
And then in there you can just see an elevator. That takes you up in the building. Now it's interesting. Let me show you. These are upscales from the 10mm range, but they're not just straight upscales.
Yeah, they're upscale and redesigned.
Yeah. So this here is its 10mm counterpart. So this is what this building looked like at Drop Zone Commander scale.
I think we can get a bit closer on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now the first thing that I think is absolutely fascinating is, would you have expected that much difference going from 10mm scale to 15mm scale? Isn't it interesting just how
it looks huge,
how big things get that quickly?
Yeah. Well, again, when I saw these, I was thinking 28mm, but I was wrong again.
Yeah, again.
As always.
But you weren't wrong again. Whatever you were,
maybe up to 20, you could maybe use it.
Yeah, you might get away at 20mm, but I wonder how big again you'd be looking at these things at 28mm, and that's maybe why they're taking their time in bringing these things to life in the likes of 28.
But it's not just an upscale of this.
No.
Yes, they're essentially the same building, but as they've been scaled up, the designs change. For example, there's
more space beneath the windows.
Stonework here, whereas on that there isn't.
There's less. Yeah, it's not just taking the file and saying, "Oh, we're going to cut it at a larger scale."
Yeah,
there has been a lot of additional work and effort put in. Like, for example, on the smaller scale, this is closed off.
Yeah,
as you can see.
Yeah.
The windows, if you see windows glittering, it's super glue that we've done when we badly put it together.
You can't just scale it up either, because the brick size would go up, or the block size, and it would be out of scale. So yes, it's this in essence, but they've redesigned the whole thing.
Yeah.
Even to the point where they've got paving in there. I don't know if you can see it.
If you look down in there,
if you tilt it that direction, you can see paving
and stuff in there.
Yeah, actually,
lift it up.
There we go.
There you go. And you see your elevator just inside.
Yeah, it's worth noting that the building does come
in sections.
Although, so
you know what I would be tempted to do? I would be tempted to see if I could get some of that clear film and actually lay it over some of these gaps.
To make them glass windows?
Yes.
Yeah, like shopping windows and stuff like that.
I would be tempted to try that.
Tell me, though, that a 1940s New York, okay, laid out with some of this to do play Flames of War, but having the Nazis invading New York.
The Man in the High Castle thing.
Yeah, how cool would that be? You know, you just lay this stuff out. You have the city blocks, and you actually have the Nazis in the States, in New York, going to war with the Marines or something like that there, because that's just driving me mad. You could get the Marine stuff from the Pacific the Pacific books, and then you could get the obviously the full German lists and the SS and stuff like that there, and because they're two armies that never met really. Yeah. And you can have them meet in New York City.
Well, if we're going to go down this route, of randomness, let's do dinosaur hunting in around New York City as well.
At 15 mil.
And get the US you get US Marines trying to take down a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
I know the guys at Foreground are probably eventually going to do this at 28 mil. You know what I want to do if they do? Lay out a nice big New York City and play bolt hack action.
Bolt hack
action. Can we see?
Let's show you some of the others then, okay? So let's have a look at this one.
I think we can get both these in.
So again, just look at that. What a really cool building. Do you know what? I think we're going to have to talk to Foreground about doing the New York City dinosaur hunt on this, because I'm just sitting thinking of the possibilities of a game like that.
You know, basically Godzilla.
It would be like Godzilla.
You could do a King Kong.
Mm-hmm. But it's just this one here is particularly cool because it's even got the skylights in it. Like, look at that! It's it's all about the little details on this stuff. Yeah. And
although I do wonder if we're going to see the District 1 City Bank done at this scale, because it's going to be that tall.
What is the actual names of what we're looking at?
Right, so we have the district. Oh, my Roman numerals. Is it District 22 XXII? XXII, but I think it's 22. Hablocks.
Yeah. And then the Hablocks are just numbered on their website.
And they're basically part of the Urbanzone kind of range. I just think it is absolutely brilliant.
And then we have one last bit that arrived as well, which is related to the other pylon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if I pull this back,
let's bring this in. Now there's some wee holes that this slots into.
Yeah. Now we've kept this separate.
Okay.
Just be very delicate if you're moving it.
Let's bring this one in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the city generator. Yeah. So it's like a big power generator thing. I think it just looks amazing.
Yeah. Now, the one piece of advice I would give anyone
comes off, and you can actually go up and down the stairs.
Yeah.
So
I would
take this off for a second.
Yeah, I would leave that separate just for when you're storing it, because that's the pylon that leads out to the rest of them.
And it's made using that lovely, lovely metallic finish that they have.
Yeah. Although I love the little turbine bits they have here, because they've actually cut it so that it's all stacked.
So that's your power generator.
Yeah.
Now you thought that was the last bit.
I thought that was that not the last bit?
It's not. It's not. Where do you take a look at some of this stuff that I have as well?
Oh, hello.
So this.
I didn't even see this.
This.
Ooh.
is the warehouse.
Where have you been hiding this?
Check this one out.
This is really cool.
Now look at all the additional bits and pieces and all that are in there for using with it. There's loads of air vents and stuff that you can put on for
set in.
Yeah. So you just you put them in, you put them on, and you get all this kind of ducting. And look at this.
See, even just taking those and laying them out in front of it, as if there's.
So there's a whole pile of stuff. But even at that, I'm quite happy to use even that in a New York kind of layout. It just looks so cool.
Well, that's because they've got nice balance between old and modern looking stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know the only thing that's missing? A Ghostbusters fire station. So we could
forget the dinosaur. Let's get the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
So hang on, is this suddenly becoming Warren's Christmas wish list? Dear Foreground, I would like.
Yeah, dear Santa, can we get a 15 mil Ghostbusters fire station? Actually, my Christmas list would be. He has totally sold me. I want to do a New York City with this.
Yeah.
Because I want to do the Nachtwolf.
Yeah.
I want to resurrect my Nachtwolf, and I want them to go off against the U.S. Marine Corps in New York.
Right.
Okay.
Does this mean I have to do a U.S. Marine Corps Army?
But the Nachtwolf are bringing
dinosaurs,
genetically created dinosaurs.
Okay.
With them, and they're going to ride them like cavalry. Okay.
Dinosaur cavalry.
Dinosaur Tyrannosaurus Rex
cavalry.
Oh, I just think it's going to be the most awesome game.
They could probably bring some of the dust apes too, so they have big apes running through.
No, dinosaurs. Dinosaurs. It's got to be dinosaurs. So, dear Santa, please let me recreate New York so I can live out all my weird fantasies on a 15
Yes, Warren, we know you have weird fantasies.
Okay. Anyway, one last thing that I've got to show you is we have a few components here from a fencing set. So if you want to do...
as close as we can go?
Well, yeah. What I was thinking, this also reminds me of, is so much flexibility with this. Because the other thing you could do at 15 mil scale, and the fences just utterly remind me of it, is a zombie outbreak type thing.
Okay. Yeah, you could do that.
So you could have 15 mil zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
And you could be setting up these barriers and things like that throughout the city.
Yeah.
To contain zombies.
So you would have your quarantine zones.
You'd have your quarantine zones.
That's quite cool.
But then the zombies, as they pile up against the barriers, you'd gradually do roll-offs with more and more dice to see if the barriers collapse. And then the zombies come spilling out.
Right.
And then your Marine Corps or whoever's defending the city has to deal with all these overspills of the outbreak and stuff.
Okay.
I'm just moving these around to point out something really cool about them, right? Mm-hmm. Look how rigid that is.
Yes.
Because that's not actually wire.
No, it's not wire.
It's actually
it's like a printed kind of an acetate.
Yes. Yeah. And I never even noticed that. We were sitting in here for days, and it just looked like fencing to me, and then I walked up and went, oh, that's really clever the way they've done that.
Isn't it really clever?
Because if that was wire at that scale, that would have no robustness to it whatsoever.
So there you have it. That's the Foreground Buildings. Utterly blown away by this stuff.
They always do. Every time they bring out something new, it's just like, you've done what now?
Yeah, but it's the range of possibilities that this opened up. Like the Mortenberg stuff. Beautiful buildings. Okay,
yes.
For a fantasy game.
Yes.
Right. So that's great.
Or
the 10 mil city range. Fabulous for Drop Zone Commander. Looks really cool. This comes in.
Yeah.
And within hours of it coming in, we've been speaking about dinosaurs in New York. We've been speaking about doing Nachtwolfen Nazi attacks on New York. We're talking about doing zombie apocalypse type stuff at 15 mil scale. It's so much opportunities to play lots and lots of different styles of game with this.
We want a 15 mil fire station.
We want to, for our Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah.
It just, two things happened with this range when they came through. One is we discovered that one or two of these could completely change the feel and the vibe of a World War II gaming table to suddenly make it feel like 1980s.
Yep.
And this stuff came in and set our minds ablazing with so many varied possibilities of stuff that we could do with it. It was just, wow. Anyway, right. We have 2 winners to announce, one today and one tomorrow.
Yep,
because
I have to remind you again.
Yeah, we are giving away, in the previous weekend, we were giving away the Sci-Fi Buildings starter set.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's
Foreground.
Yeah, from Foreground.
I think it's the Ipyagan or something.
The Ipyagan the starter set. So it's a sci-fi building set. There was a ton of buildings in it. Okay, and the winner of the front stage competition was Dan Byrne. So well done, Dan. Right.
Quick reminder, go and fill out the wee form.
Go and fill out the prize claim, Dan, and stay tuned tomorrow because we had a backstage winner of the very same kit.
Yes.
Okay. Right. We're going to take a quick break, tell you about some hubs, because after that, we're going to start playing with wire cutters. Or hot wire cutters.
Hot foam wire cutters.
Hot foam wire cutters, yeah. We're going to cut foam, not wire. Okay, we'll be back.
Become a general of mighty armies at the Kings of War Hub. Take command of elves, dwarves, and orcs in this game of masked fantasy combat on beastsofwar.com. Venture into the dangerous dungeons of myth as a mighty hero and stand against the darkness. Visit the Myth Hub on beastsofwar.com and begin your story.
Hi guys and welcome back. So, to close out the show, we're getting stuck into a project.
Something that's been wandering around in your mind for a little while.
Yeah, as you'll know, we built the Battle of Hoth, and we used one of our favorite materials, if not probably our most favorite material, polystyrene.
Yeah.
Now, we've been using polystyrene previously. A few years back, we built a gaming table. We built a couple of gaming tables, actually, and used polystyrene to make kind of mesa, kind of cliff faces.
Aye.
And we also did one where we then proceeded to cover it with grass mat. And we'd been using a hot wire cutter by Woodland Scenics. And I'll be honest, we didn't have very much luck with it. We went through about 2 or 3 of them. They burned out after a little while.
You were using them industrial style, just cutting an 8x4 table.
But he doesn't mean we went through the wires, 2 or 3 of them. We went through 2 or 3 of the actual cutters.
The actual cutters themselves burned out. It wasn't the wires, the cutters themselves burned out.
Was it just you were using them for too long a period of time? Or
Now, we were very fortunate in that we'd been, after the Battle of Hoth, we were in contact with the hot wire foam company. The hot wire foam cutting company, and they had seen the Battle of Hoth and they had seen Lloyd's injury because we had to do that with a knife because we didn't have any foam cutters.
Well, I think every time Lloyd has injured himself, because I remember whenever we did our trench board, he managed to turn around and go, "What word?" and stab himself in the hand.
Yeah,
Hot Wire Foam Factory.
Wire Foam Factory.
If you're looking for the website, it's www.hwff.com.
Yes.
And there we go. Anyway, they took pity on poor Lloyd and his injuries and said, "Do you know what, guys? We think that you'll be able to do a much better job with these, but more than that, we think you'll be safer with this."
Oh, us safe? Since when?
So what they sent through? Well, Lloyd, you tell us what they sent through. I think you have some photographs and stuff like that.
Well, I do. We had a big package arrived. Here we can see there's only one bit not in this, and it's a sled, but I have a separate photo.
So this is a 3D scroll table.
It is indeed. That's that big black disc, and then there's a rod in the middle that's part of it, and then there's a polystyrene, or not a polystyrene, a bubble wrapped bit with some more bits for it.
Yeah.
And then in the case, the Hot Wire Foam Factory, there's all the tools, and then there's another little bag of bits up to the top right. But once I opened up the box, this is all the tools that were in it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
A whole big selection of things.
Yeah.
So in that we had this, which is called the router.
Yeah. So if I grab that.
So that's a router.
This is a thick cabled piece that you can actually bend to shape for sculpting. Yeah.
If you can just go to me and Justin's camera, that'll look better. Less like the Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this bit here is the router, but I have pictures that'll probably show it off just as well. So yeah, so you can see a selection here. It's on the far right is the router. So if I just pick it up in front of me, this is the router.
Yeah, and I'm assuming with that heavier cable, you're fit to just bend and hold the shape as you work through your foam.
Yes, which is kind of cool. Also in the box, we had the main sculpting tool with a really wide, wide reach.
Yeah,
and the cool thing about that is if you put bits of polystyrene together, and you can cut through lots of them. Because we've had wire cutters before, and they've been more like that sort of distance.
Yeah.
Right.
And you couldn't cut through very much.
Yeah.
Whereas that big wide throw, like I said, you can stack them up. Like that's easily going to go through 3 regular-sized bits of polystyrene.
Yeah, I actually see the thing's actually got a wee bit of give to it, so if you're putting too much tension on it, you're less likely to break your wire, yeah?
Yes.
Yes.
Also, there was the beveling tool.
Engraving tool.
Sorry, the engraving tool. I don't know why they call it the beveling tool.
Yeah.
And the hot knife.
This one's my favorite. I think this is probably going to be the most flexible of all of them because I feel like Zorro.
All right, I'm surprised you're not just holding it and making lightsaber sounds.
This stuff arrived, and we had a project in mind. It's one that we're going to be kicking off.
I still have more pictures.
Have you more pictures?
Yeah, I took loads of pictures.
Okay, well,
you're jumping the gun.
Show us the rest of your pictures.
So then I started snapping all little bits. So
you actually get a fair number of wires with it.
Loads of bags of wires, and let me skip on.
Yeah.
Here's a power pack. It runs it all.
No, wait. That says Pro Tool and Craft Tool on it. Is there? I think there's different kinds of tool that can all run off that same power pack.
Yes, some require probably a bigger voltage because they're thicker wires and things like that.
Yeah.
So they have the Pro Tool end, and the other ones have the Craft Tool end.
Right. Okay.
And that way you can't plug the wrong tool into the wrong power port.
Yeah, you can end up giving too much power to something that you might actually just overdo the cable on.
Which is great. Also, there was DVDs, so I gave them a quick watch.
Yeah. How did you enjoy them?
They were pretty good. Yeah. They weren't bad at all. They got me to grips with how a lot of the stuff worked.
Yeah.
Really quickly. Here's the bag of all the bits.
I assume this is what cables you up to your actual scroll table?
Yes. Which I've got the bits here. I just want to go through the bits.
Yeah.
Because I laid them all out so everyone could see the sort of things.
So he went to the hassle of taking the pictures, and now, like holiday snaps, we need to make sure you see every one of them.
And this one.
And what is that?
The slide.
Sled guy.
The sled. The sled's really cool. I've watched some vids about it, but I haven't actually used it yet. So I'm still looking forward to giving that a shot.
So what does it do?
It allows you. Well, you can see the
picture. It says here it guides. It's good for engraving, writing, slicing, and cutting.
One of the things you can do.
Awesome.
You can
so what does it do?
You can put down a bit of polystyrene and use the sled to actually slide one of the cutters along the polystyrene.
So if I took the router, I could hook it up to that and bring a trench through at the same depth the whole way?
Yes. You see that bottom picture? Just point there on the screen, Justin. That one.
Here?
Yes.
Bottom left.
Now, make a shape like this.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Attach it to the sled and pull the sled back over the polystyrene, and it'll cut that shape out the whole way across it.
I see. So this holds the wire cutter.
Yes.
And then the sled gives you a smooth surface that you can keep the wire cutter in place,
and
keep it flat, and pull it forward.
You see? It wasn't just for the sake of showing you photos.
We could have used that to get nice clean edges around the bergs and the snowdrift.
Yeah.
And then just kept it all flat on the top and then shaped that.
The other thing is you can attach this to the 3D sculpting table as well.
Yeah.
To give you like because you can cut edges and stuff, as you'll see in a little thing we've done.
Mm-hmm.
You can cut edges, you can cut straights with it, but you can also attach this tool on the end and use that as like a saw type thing to cut through polystyrene. Which I haven't done yet, so I'm looking forward to giving that a shot.
Well, we have decided to embark on a project to put this stuff to the test. So the last couple of days we've been doing just some testing. Mm-hmm. So if you go over and check the backstage vlog, you'll see us getting to grips with our first test, where we just created a little bunker out of nowhere. Yeah. And it worked very, very well for our first little bunker.
Yeah.
But then the whole purpose of this is to do something that little bit grander. Ever since Age of Sigmar released, okay, the first thing we did was we created that whole Loch Death, the Lake Town type thing. But in the back of my mind, ever since it released, was Ben had said to me, actually, the floating islands would be such a cool terrain project.
You float now, so you float loosely in the sea, or what?
No, they float in the sky.
Okay.
These are islands in the airstream, you might say.
Okay.
Let me help you out. Let me help you out with a picture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have seen a picture of floating islands and stuff to do with the Age of Sigmar. I think it was a bit of artwork, but for the life of me, I can't track it down. But I did find a really cool gaming table as I was doing an image search. So let me bring this up.
So this is an example. Do you see in the background, right? In the Age of Sigmar, all the magic and stuff like that is, even causes big chunks of the earth to rise up and float around, and you can have battles and stuff like that on it. So Ben had described this to me, and then I was describing this to Lloyd, and I thought, what better way to put the hot wire cutting stuff to the test than for us to go down this route. So we decided to do a bit of testing before we launch the project blog early next year. Okay. So first up, let's show this man here some of the concept pieces that we were basing it on. So we downloaded some concept art and some kind of bits and pieces from movies and stuff like that. So
we had that Age of Sigmar. Bring that up again just before I change it.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a prime example of what we're trying to make. But then Avatar screams in your mind, going, "Oh,
okay."
So let me bring up a picture from Avatar.
Okay. If you had said Avatar from number 1, I would have got it.
Here you go, floating islands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the thing about the Avatar one is it shows off a lot of greenery and stuff like that, and lots of different shapes.
Yeah, so you've got vines and stuff all holding it together.
I've got a few different pictures, and I'll just quickly zip through them all. Now the thing about that is that's all pretty much based on some real life stuff. Obviously, you don't get real life floating islands.
Yeah. What? Okay. Yeah.
But I was doing some image searches, and what do you see? This image that I found.
Okay.
Oh wow!
See how close the Avatar stuff is to that real world photo.
Yeah. You just cut out the base of it.
Yes.
It's exactly the same, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, let me go to the next. Keep that up.
And how did you find that out during your research that the Avatar floating rocks was based on?
Well, I just looked at the image and went, it must be based on that.
All right. Okay. All right.
It looks the same.
Well,
and then I've got this model picture.
Yeah.
That I found as well.
Right.
Of the Avatar stuff.
Oh yeah.
Where someone's been modeling something.
That's been really well done.
Now, what we're planning to do isn't going to be as rounded topped as that, because
we need to put miniatures on it. Yeah.
We're going to want to play.
You basically want it to look as if there's a section of the ground has had something there and has just went.
Well, actually, no, not quite. What I'm going to have is we're going to have a gaming table where we have Age of Sigmar, and we're going to have 2 or 3 of these large areas floating in as if the necromancer is drawing these into the gaming scape, and we're going to have rope ladders and things like that between them, so that you can actually game around them.
You're going to make a necromancer's floating fortress.
Maybe.
Okay.
Right. Well, look. Basically, we got stuck in. Okay. So we're going to go out of the studio where Lloyd is taking us through the first steps.
Alright, so we've got this plan of making floating islands and stuff for Age of Sigmar. This is what I've got so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks of polystyrene stuck together. This one was like a full piece, and these were offcuts that were lying around the studio, so I stuck them all together using barbecue skewers. You just literally drive it in like that. Oh, well, try not to break it, but I have 3 in there, so don't worry about that. I keep it all together. Right, now it's time to try our hot wire cutter and see how it goes. It's quite a big block. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that, but it's quite a big wire cutter, so I thought, you know what, I'll just put a big massive block together, go at it with the wire cutter and see what happens. So let's get stuck in on this. Any questions or anything there, Warren? Because Warren's doing cameraman.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see not only how effective it is, but how long these wire cutters last us, because we used to use the Woodland Scenics one, but we'd burned through them in about a week. They weren't great, I've got to say. So I'm really interested to see, how effective is it, but also later on come back with an update to say how long it's lasted for us.
Yeah, that will be interesting. Just got the tension on that again. I'm just using their sculpting one at the minute. Mm-hmm. As we get further into this, I don't know if it'll be today or what. We may switch over and start using their router ones and things like that. that you can actually bend shapes into the wire, because that'll allow us to get into angles and stuff that I can't get with this. So we'll see.
How handy would this have been during the Star Wars Hoth build load?
Is that not why they sent it?
Yes.
They felt pity for me, slicing myself
yourself
up.
It certainly is a lot safer than going at it with a knife, isn't it?
A lot safer, especially this, and quicker. I mean, I'm just slicing through it here, whereas with the knife I'd be trying to do it in all little strokes with the blade out to like this sort of length. So if you think about it, basically what I'm making is a mountain, and then we'll turn it upside down. There is pictures like that, isn't there, in the Age of Sigmar fluff or something? There
is, yes, about floating islands and things like that. It's a really cool fantasy trope, the whole floating island thing, and it's that's why I'm so keen on this particular modelling project. I just think it's something cool, especially if we can come up with something that's very gameable as well. It's one thing making it look cool, it's another thing making it, you know, big enough and effective enough to actually play a game on it.
Alright, here we go. I'm just concentrating here. I want to make sure I don't put too much tension on the wire and let the heat of the cutter do the job. Really getting there now, aren't we? There you go, look at that. Because this is big and wide, I can cut through 3 big layers all at the same time.
And then beautiful organic shapes.
You're not going to do that with a knife. That's the other thing about this. There's a wee straight, there's like a tension bar you can put in this.
Yes, a tension bar, yes.
I don't have it on it, but that's quite good, because if I push too hard, it naturally loses tension rather than snap the wire. Okay. Yeah, that's looking cool. Change the angle. It's all about making lots and lots of different cuts and different angles to get rid of all the square bits from the polystyrene, and eventually you'll get that more natural shape.
Organic.
And then with having lots of different tools, when we've got big flat areas like this, we can switch over to another type of colour. The likes of this one here. If I just turn this off for a second, I'll set it down. This one here is like their router version, okay? And then you can just put shapes into it. So if you can imagine, I run through that in this shape, or there's a little bit in here that I can't get at, I could just make a little loop.
Do it! One thing talking about it, let's do it. Let's see what it looks like.
Yeah, maybe we should do that. Let's.
Yeah.
That shape there. Let's see. Let's see what happens if we run that through. So turn this off. Pop that one out. Leave it to cool. Is it off? Yes. This is part of the Pro Tools, so it's on a different. I think this has more voltage in it because it's a bigger, thicker wire.
Oh, how we giggle.
Let me bring the box over. Quite a lot of slack on the box, so you can move it around. Right, let's see, is this warmed up? Alright, yeah, there we go. So let's just start at the top and make our way down and through and see what happens. Give this some more power. If you find it's not cutting fast enough, you can just turn up the juice. Oh, that's cool. Look at that.
Yeah.
See the way I was getting big, long, sort of flat areas of that? I've got more sort of, I don't know, curves and things. And then if I go at it at different angles and stuff, we should get more of a fractured rock sort of look. it that way. Just take a chunk out. Now when you do bend this wire, be sure not to bend it round onto itself. Because you could short out the electronics. So if you're bending it, don't bend it to the point where it touches. Keep it separate like that. Do you know the way if you're playing one of those games where you complete the circuit and you get a zap? Mm-hmm. Don't do that. It says in the instructions and things, keep it separate. Let's see how we're getting on here. Hopefully this ends up looking like a big iceberg.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
And then we paint it, and hopefully then it looks like grey rock rather than an iceberg. They've also sent us some stuff I've never used before. What have I got here? Styro glue. Fast permanent bonds. Adheres to all polystyrene foams and most surfaces. Industrial strength. Dries clear. Works on all your craft. Foam, rubber, paper, glass, etc, etc, etc. But on the side, the interesting thing it says is that you can cut through it with your wire cutter. It cuts a bit slower, but you can cut through it because we've used other glues like Tech 7 and stuff.
Yes.
For sticking polystyrene together, and when you get to them with your hot wire cutter, it really bogs down. So that one there is kind of designed to work with these. Right, will we leave me to it for a while and then we can come back and see where I'm at?
Yes, indeed.
Perfect.
So,
it's looking good.
We've left him to keep cutting. We'll be coming back to Lordy in a minute. By that stage, what was your favourite of the tools? How well did they work for you?
Well, as I kept working on it, what I found is I mostly just worked with these two tools. Mm-hmm. I worked with the sculptor. Mm-hmm. Because of the big wide area, and I could quickly go through a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and like you said, you were going through 3 layers of foam at a time.
It was specifically good because it's a big square block basically to begin with, and this I could go along.
Is that the same wire that you were using?
This one, yes.
Right. So that wire has lasted the whole way to this point. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
It has indeed.
That's good.
And then I was also using the router. And it's really cool, this bending shape stuff, because like I think I've mentioned in the video, you can bend it to a point where you can get little bits that go into gaps you wouldn't normally be able to get. Like, can you ever get that into a gap? No. And you can't really position the wire, and it's not like you can hold it because it's too hot to hold.
Yeah.
This is really cool because it got down into gaps, and then when you wanted to do cliff faces, you could make sort of some jut outs in it.
And I'm assuming as you go down, you could go in, down a little, back out and on down, and keep that uniform shape that you would have.
But we'll see more of that. Now, so at this point, these are the ones I've used the most. Mm. Now, I have played with these and these, and I like this and I like this, but I haven't found yet a useful and just at the point where we are in the project.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that further on, once I go into it and start to think, well, I want to detail a little bit more, I think I'm going to go to the engraver quite a lot.
Yeah. Like, see, for the knife, I would use it before using this. Using the actual...
Using what?
This.
Yeah.
I would use that before that to start taking off some of those big corners. Slice them off nice and flat. Mm-hmm. Then come in with this and start to add some rounded shapes.
No, I think you want to go with this, because if you did break a wire during this project, you'd replace this. If you break this, you have to send it away to get fixed. There's no replacement part for that.
It's not right.
You just be gentle with it.
Well then you have to be very gentle with that.
If you're going to do lots of cutting and stuff, why would you use your most... Well, it's not a delicate tool, but I think it's a precision tool. That's more sculpted. That's why it's called the sculptor.
Okay.
Well, I then joined Lloyd after we had left him for a while to see some of the more detailing that he had been doing. So check this out.
Alright, so, you've left me to it.
I left him to it.
I've been carving away. It's the next day, actually. Change of clothes and everything. Here's our bucket. Full.
And I tell you what, as messy as that looks, right, that is nothing compared to the mess that's made when you go at this stuff with a knife.
Yes, if you're using the white stuff, polystyrene balls just fly out everywhere.
This, I just was saying to him earlier on, this is a lifesaver from that perspective. When we did the Hoth board, we were picking bits of polystyrene out of our clothes or our hair, the little balls of it from everywhere all the time. This is so much cleaner for working with this. And here you have it.
Yes, I've been working away at it. John, get a bit of a close up of this while I spin it around. Let me put this down for a sec. So here's where it's currently at. Well, I shaped everything. I went around it and gave it a first pass.
Yep.
Alright, so the first pass got me to basically, do you see this sort of look
Looking
here?
like that, yeah.
Where there's quite a lot of flat areas. It's a bit more iceberg looking. Looks a bit icy, but we want it to look rocky.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm now going round it.
You're using the router tool.
Yes, I'm using the router tool and giving it a second pass and adding in, more detail. So if we just turn it on, we can just add a little bit, to try and get rid of some of the flatness. Because flatness stuff, when we come to dry brush it, unless we put in some sort of mix on it, which I think we will eventually.
We might. Well, what I suggest is, and we have talked about this.
Let me just finish. The big flat areas won't get much detail if you dry brush them, so I'm trying to give it lots more little cracks and things.
You need lots of high points for a dry brush to work. So what we've been thinking is we will get it to a stage, and then we'll have a go at painting it directly. So we'll get it all glued together, and then we'll paint it, okay, and dry brush it, and see what it looks like. And if we're happy, great. If we're not, then what we'll do is we'll create a Magimix or something like that and put that over it.
Yes.
And then repaint it. But there's no point in doing another step if we're not convinced we need to do the other step.
Yes. I think we will end up doing the other step, but like one says, if we try it the other way and go, you know what, it looks amazing as it is, job done.
Yeah.
Right, I've got my router tool and I've bent it into some weird shapes, because when I put it in and move around.
So there's no science to those shapes, so it's just random.
Yeah, there's no science to it. It is scientific fact, but there's no evidence for it.
Right.
And then just recutting out, because you don't want it to look
like
that shape. So then I'm just taking parts out.
All the while doing your best to burn yourself.
Not burn myself, hopefully. Okay, so that was flat. Now you can see
already
as I take the little chunks out of it. That breaks it up. Now you've got 2 or 3 ridges to catch when you're dry brushing. Another little fracture line. Yeah. So if you zoom back out, John, the thing is, so it's sort of one of those things that you'll just sort of get the knack of it as you start doing it. Because yesterday I was doing this bit, but today I started doing this bit, and I started doing it a slightly different way, and I was looking at it going, you know what, I quite like this bit a bit more with the more defined
crevices
and chunks. Because when it's all very small, it just looks like one big ball.
See, the thing is, right, get the knife tool, Lloyd, right, and let's have a look at this kind of in situ as to how this might look. So we're gonna do a little kind of a hole here. If you just have a look in there, you'll see a little marker for a hole. Okay. So we're just going to deepen that a little bit using the knife tool. Just allow me, because I've dug out this. This is not what we're going to use probably going forward, but it's enough for me to get an indication of what this might look like.
I've already started using the engraving tool. I've made a little bit of a hole.
Do you want to widen it a bit, or will we just run with it till we see?
We can use this.
Or deepen it. It's not widen it. It's just deepening it that we're trying to do.
I think we'll just give it a shot.
Okay. So let's see. Okay.
Yeah, don't push it too deep.
No, we don't want to push it too deep.
Look like it's flying.
And now let's do that. Okay. And now I brought in some bits and pieces that I'd prepared earlier.
balancing act, this one. I'd more centralise that. There you go.
Okay.
No, you put all the weight on one side. Just put it in the middle. There you go. You might find you need a couple of rods, possibly.
Well, what I'm thinking is to make this work is one rod, but we need a solid piece in there somewhere, spread out that the rod butts up against rather than just the polystyrene itself. But look, there already, if you get down and you rotate it, Lloyd, you really start to get the sense of what this is going to look like.
Whoa.
And even then, I don't think it needs to be as high as that. I think we can afford to go a bit deeper again.
Because you're really only supporting on the first few layers of polystyrene.
Yeah. So what we need to do is to find some kind of, maybe even a clear perspex rod and base, and then possibly have a solid piece of wood or MDF buried in there somewhere that it butts up against. Way.
I don't think it needs that. What I think it needs is it might need like 2 rods.
2 rods.
Because even if that was stable, you've just tipped it.
We need a bigger base. A bigger, flatter base is probably the way to go. So what we'd do is actually maybe embed it into a hill or something at the bottom. I really like Lloyd's idea too, which we'll experiment with, of using little bits of kind of vines and stuff like that, and have another rock.
Yeah, I haven't discussed this idea yet.
Okay, well, go for it.
Because as we were cutting it, there was bits dangling off it, and I thought, oh, that's really cool. And then I thought we could replicate that with a hot wire gun, or a hot glue gun. And we basically do is put half a glue there and run it down like that, and then it dangles, and then we could put like bits of flock or scatter and things on that. And then I went to look at the Avatar stuff, and that's exactly what Avatar the movie looks like. Their bases aren't particularly clear. It's covered in all sorts of growth hanging from it.
Yeah.
So I don't think we should go as far as that. I think a few bits, because I kind of like the idea of seeing a big rocky mass. What colour we make it, I'm not sure. We talked about doing it greys and things.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we can go back to the studio at this point.
Yes. So back over to the studio. And here it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's
coming. Don't pull it.
Do you like the dangly bits?
Yeah, it's a great example of what we're going to try and create.
Sorry,
I'll try and stick it back on. There you go.
It's not. It is sticking too.
It's back on.
It's not 100% there, but it is at the point where you can look at it and really get a sense of what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, right? I look at this. I can barely see you guys, by the way. I look at this, and we couldn't do that with a knife. You couldn't.
Well, how long did it take you to get to this stage, Lloyd, start to finish?
I'm
about 2 hours,
maybe 3.
Maybe 3. To start sculpting it. Yeah. Bearing in mind, it's still the early stages of utilizing it. Yeah. But two of the things, and I had said in the video there, obviously the lack of mess. Yeah. Okay. You get a lot of offcuts, but you don't hardly get any of the little tiny little polystyrene balls.
Yeah, they just stick to you with the static electricity, which was such a pain.
Whenever we did Hoth, it was a nightmare. The mess that had been created from
that. And that was even with us constantly hoovering to try and keep it to a minimum.
With this, it was dead easy. All the bits were big, chunky. We just swept it up and then just chucked them in the bin.
Yeah. But if we cut camera 4, these wee dangly bits. It's dropping down.
Turn.
I really want us to make little dangly bits.
Deliberate dangly bits.
You can see 2 of them really well there, here and here.
Yeah.
Because that gives it that Avatar look. I mean, if I bring up some of the artwork again from the Avatar, this one in particular.
Yeah.
You can see all these things caught in vines and stuff.
Yeah.
Hanging down, which I think would be really cool.
Yeah. It would be interesting to try and actually make the vines and stuff to go between it, to actually have it running maybe to the ground.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I'm interested in, Lloyd, is doing that thing where we have additional rocks, big rocky pieces down below as well, that are all kind of tied into it all.
Because if we did a big one in this void, let's turn it around, say like a big one that's dropped down.
Yeah.
Maybe we could make a hole and put a ladder down from right through the rock.
Yeah,
the whole way down
onto it. Yeah.
So this is you going to some form of dungeon crawling outside the dungeon.
And then of course we have the top. where once we get it all more straight, more stabilized, we will put some kind of features on the top.
I'm not entirely. It is currently slanting a little bit, but that doesn't bother me to the point. As long as miniatures sit on it, because who's to say what angle this is going to be floating at in some sort of anti-gravity effect?
The other thing is, whenever you're finishing this off, you could just do it as sort of a cobblestone paving or something.
Yeah.
As if it's a part of a city that has been ripped up.
You see, no, I thought if we keep the top relatively flat, and this is just me thinking off the wall here. I'm thinking if we put grass top on that and keep it rather smooth, when it comes to a game of regular sort of Warhammer, or something on a table, we could flip this the other way and just change it into a mountain.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
I want it. Let's just make it really, really cool for this. Because remember, we have at least another maybe 1 or 2 of these to build, and we want to try and get bridge working between them.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to make such an epic gaming table, and it's something that is fairly straightforward for you guys to join in at home. I would highly recommend, though, go out and grab yourself a hot wire cutter, because it's hot. Be very, very careful when you're using them, but it is so much easier to use and so much safer than going at this stuff with a craft knife. I'm utterly sold on this stuff, and having the selection of them too has been very, very useful, Lloyd. Very flexible. Having the different tool types on hand to
it's
be able
been
to
great
do it.
Not to be limited by I can't fit this in where I'm trying to get.
Yeah. Again, the Woodland Scenics one, it's the only other one that we've really had experience of. It might have been fine for maybe some of the guys in Model Rail, but whenever you come to wargaming and you're trying to do bigger stuff, we did find it to be pretty limiting, I've got to say. And then when it would burn out so quickly, that it just kind of blah. We sooner went at it with a knife. But the flexibility of these tools and having the different options available to us, it just meant that you can look at a project and you just see so much more opportunity for doing things and for changing things.
Although what I might do as well, you see if you actually take your knife or your engraving tool, and on the top you actually draw out the footprint of some of your terrain. Yeah. You could actually engrave it in slightly so it just pops down in, and that way you're not going to knock it over as quick.
Yes, well there'll be whenever we launch the plug early next year, where we really go to town on this, there'll be lots of little tips and things like that that I'm sure we'll look at. But if you're interested in using this kind of material to do this kind of project, well, it's worth checking out that particular range from the Hot Wire Foam Factory. It's
at this point, Justin, where I think this tool will become really quite useful.
So what are you going to use it for at this point?
You see the likes of this area here, right? That's quite deep to get into, and because that's got a big long end on it, you can get down into that crevice and start to do a bit more modelling and stuff, rather than trying to force something this size in there. Which is what's really cool about it.
So if you were trying to cut along the trench, so if I can find it.
Yeah. I think we had it.
Right. Don't be forcing anything into the crevice. That's the end of the show.
What have we done? Have we broken Warren again for another week?
There we go. Well, anyway, look, there's a ton of flexibility in that. Stay tuned to early next year.
Yeah.
We're going to be pursuing on this. We're going to have a whole project log where we track the progress of the age of Sigmar, the fantasy floating islands.
So we're doing a broken world board.
It's a broken world board. That's definitely the way to do it. Okay, guys, go and check out the hotwirefoamfactory.com or HHF.
No.
F.
HW.
HWFF.com. And it'll be interesting to see where it goes. Anyway, thank you very much for watching The Weekender. Remember, tomorrow morning we have the XLBS version of this show. We're going to be talking about the strategy, things that we might be able to do in 2016. If you'd like to get involved in that, please do come on over to beastsofwar.com, set yourself up a Backstage account, and get stuck in and give us all your feedback on some of the stuff that you'd like to see in 2016. So until next week, all we can say is happy gaming.
Fight for the Iron Kingdoms as a warcaster. Take control of the mighty jacks, arcane devices, and dark sorceries to bring the fight to the War Machine Hub on beastsofwar.com. Flames of War brings you the battles of World War II in epic 15mm scale. Go to the hub on beastsofwar.com to find news, tactics, and tutorials about the game.
Are we on? Are we on?
Yeah, we're ready to go.
We haven't been disconnected yet,
we haven't been disconnected. Hello, we're still here. Justin.
Yeah.
Right, every boot camp, we do the souvenir picture.
Yeah, I love them every time.
Yeah. Can you bring up an image of the souvenir picture?
We sure can.
Yeah. So we do this souvenir picture because we're too cheap to give people an actual souvenir. So we create one. So this is Team Yankees, right?
Yeah.
And it's all the crew that are there, and we're defending Coleraine. That's our town hall in the middle, and we're defending Coleraine from an attack of the warthogs. This is now Lloydislavia.
It's become a suburb.
Yeah. And you know it's all interesting, but I'm really interested in what's happening over in Lloyd and Justin's direction.
Yeah,
can we,
I'm trying to launch.
Let's go just a little bit.
Let's
closer.
get a little closer. So
right. So we can see Lloyd there on some kind of a launch button.
Yeah, you can see me on the computer with the launch error.
Yeah, what is this T-shirt, Justin?
Whoa, what? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
Do you have a deep love for the Hoth?
What? You don't hassle the Hoth. You
don't hassle the Hoth. Where on earth did you get that from?
eBay. What? You can find anything on eBay.
I know, it's brilliant, right?
Hang on. I love the Hoth. I love the work he does.
It's like I come in and say we need to post photos for this, or post for these photos for the shoot.
Yeah.
And he legs it, and I'm like, where's he gone?
Yeah.
And like about 10 minutes later, he pops in with his flipping T-shirt, and I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah. What? Oh,
I think we can get even closer.
Can we get a bit closer? Because I want to see that. I want to see the Hoth up
full
close.
appreciation of
Look
that.
at that.
Hang on. I absolutely love the old Knight Rider TV series.
Yeah.
What is wrong with that?
That
is him at his best.
Yeah, I know. This is him at his best.
Yeah.
Okay. I never realized that you were such a fan of the Hoth. It was like, it really is.
Yeah.
You know his claim to fame, don't you?
Well,
he brought down the Berlin Wall.
Really? Well, I missed this. I'm gonna have to go Google this.
No, he was responsible for the reunification of Germany.
Okay.
Single-handedly.
All right, so hang on, without realizing it, I've thrown in something historical into the actual.
Yes.
This was what we loved about it. We said, come with something 80s, and you picked the perfect guy. He was responsible for the reunification of Germany. His singing. Do you know he's one of the top grossing singers in Germany?
Really? Oh.
It was awesome.
What do you mean you don't know this? And he basically
I just like the TV show.
He did a big gig. Okay. He did a big gig on the night that the Berlin Wall came down. He said, I'm
getting wind up here.
No, he says, I'm giving you the power of the Hoth.
And they put these big space speakers up against bits of the wall and started vibrating it.
Right.
And then the wall started to crumble as the Hoth.
I feel the crank turning here, guys.
I think we can get even closer.
Can we get even closer?
I think we can.
So, right,
there's a deep mutual respect between me and the Hoth.
Wait.
Yes.
What the heck?
Yes.
What is this?
What?
What is that just above the crotch? What is that?
What? Designer underwear.
It says, I love JM.
Yeah, designer underwear. What's wrong with that?
What sort of monogram could that possibly be, Justin Macaulay? Cut!